Hello, this is Ron. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough for you of my new Pelican Catch 120 12-foot fishing kayak. Sit on top. And this guy is replacing an older Pelican 10-foot sit-in kayak that we had. And I just kind of ran out of room and wanted more flexibility of the larger boat. Like most folks, I'm going to do a start at the front kind of an approach, and then we'll have some add-on things when we get done with the full initial walkthrough. Starting at the front, sort of a good perspective of the boat. The big hatch comes with the boat. Down in the hatch, I've got my fish finder battery set up with a voltmeter, on-off switch, some additional dry bags, lots more storage. I will put also a small folding chair in here if I decide I want to get out of the boat and do a little shore fishing. Could also put a little bit of camping gear either in or on top of the front. There's the first anchor trolley connection point. Anchor trolley goes all the way back to the rear. A similar anchor point back here. The boat comes standard with a paddle strap. I have added some additional rod safety retainer straps. And on both sides, Scotty tracks and a single Scotty flush mount. I like to have my poles close by. The strap attach points come with the boat. On my fish finder, coming up from the battery, I have a 2-pin SAE connector, and then again another Scotty post mount. And I like to have everything in reach, so that's why all of these Scotty arms and whatever. Still working on some cable management things. Haven't quite got that figured out. Port side of the boat, down on the bottom, you see the fish finder transponder. The transponder mount is a magnetic mount. I have posted some things on our local fishing forums about that guy. And then on the other side, you can see the cleat, which is going to serve dual purpose for both anchor trolley and also to hold the anchor as the time comes, and then also to hold my little downrigger ball, and we'll show you that in a little bit. Down in the center here is a little 6-inch hatch, and that hatch was not on the boat. I added it. What I'll probably end up doing with that is storing my anchor, my downrigger ball, and some of the things that are under the seat in that space instead of leaving them under the seat. Typical milk crate setup. A little difference here, you see the handles. This milk crate actually has wheels on it, which are recycled lawnmower wheels through one corner, and I use this if I'm shore fishing. And if I decide, if I'm on the kayak and the wind comes up and I decide I'd rather shore fish, I can just pull up onto a beach somewhere, take this out, relocate to my shore fishing location. And the handle is already attached, and at the top of the handle is a little GoPro camera mount. Speaking of GoPro camera mounts, this is the one up front on the Scotty gearhead mount and track, and so I can get both front and rear pictures if I need to. In this section, I'm going to show you how I've got the battery and motor and controller set up. First thing you see here is a 12-volt motor control board that is in a little white project box, which is waterproof. And then the black box on top with the rheostat is the motor control. For transport, and storage, the control unit sits on some extreme outdoor Velcro material, which is super strong and super adhesive. The box also has a couple of strips of the same material underneath it, so it's nice and sturdy, doesn't rock or move. When I'm using the motor control, it goes onto the Velcro on the side, so it's handy for my left hand. Obviously, I've got the seat removed at this point. The battery cable and all of the cables on this boat are connected with 2-pin SAE connectors. And then I bundle all of the extra wire with zip ties down below, including the extra cable that came with the motor. I didn't want to cut that off in case I want to relocate the battery and extend that. So all of that is behind the motor control project box and underneath the seat. So it's all out of the way, very compact. The battery is a 12-volt, 100 amp hour deep cycle battery. I got that at Walmart for about 80 bucks. And then the battery box is an $8 standard Group 24 battery box, also from Walmart. The new motor is a Newport Vessels, 55 horse. It's got little battery indicators to tell you how much approximate battery life is left. 5 speeds forward and 3 reverse. If I move it forward now, the battery and everything is hooked up, but the motor control is in the off position. If I turn that on, we see the propeller moving. This is full speed at 1, which is pretty good speed. As I rotate the motor control down, it gradually decreases, and you notice I'm not changing anything on the handle. All I'm doing is adjusting the rheostat on the 12-volt motor control. So now I control anywhere from 0.3 to about 0.8 miles per hour on the number 1 setting. If I move it to the number 2 setting, I can go from about 0.6 to about 1.5 miles, and I should hardly ever, with this 55-pound motor, have to go to the 3 or 4 or 5 setting. If I do, you can see how fast it's going. I'll do a speed test on the boat in a little bit. You'll see the 4 blue lights on the top of the motor indicate that I have a full battery. I just recharged that last night. So again, even in the number 5 position, we have infinite variable control down to a very low speed. So typically I would probably leave it on 3 or 4 or 5, depending on what I want my max speed to be, and then use the rheostat on the motor control to fine-tune it based on what it shows on my fish finder as far as a GPS, because I have a GPS fish finder show me what speed I'm going. The motor mount, you see, is just a simple piece of wood, couple of bolts, all stainless steel. On the side of the motor mount, because of the angle I have it mounted on the rod holders, I've got a couple of wedges of wood. These are screwed in good and solid and glued, screwed and glued, so that the motor mount is almost perfectly horizontal, and then the motor, when you put it down to its full reclined position, full down position, will fit in the bottom notch or second notch. The battery is not 100% complete yet because I will be adding a USB port and voltmeter to the top. That'll be wired directly to the battery posts with a fuse appropriate to the meter and the USB port. And I will probably also put a 12-volt accessory plug on the top of the battery. There is plenty of room between the top of the actual battery itself and the battery box, almost 2 inches, for those meters to go in. The battery posts are over on this side, so the meters will go in the back, so they won't be on top of or interfering with the battery posts. The other part of the motor mount, which is a little bit unusual, is the little white PVC there on the block of wood. With that white PVC, I can mount a little umbrella on the top or put a flag on. And then in the back, I have my stern light, white stern light, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Here we have the bow lighting, a couple of little battery-powered red and green lights. They're marked port and starboard on top of the lights so that we know what side they go on. The retainers are a couple of 3-inch PVC pipe, and then a little extra insurance with the elastic bands just in case they come off the PVC and want to fall off. So double secured there. No holes drilled for these guys. Here in the stern, we have a Scotty track-mounted gear head on a ball mount, going up to a PVC tube, 24 inches approximately. At the top of that, we have a Shoreline 360 white stern light, held in at the base with a metal pin. This light has a solid on, slow blink, and fast blink settings and is very visible from a good distance. It's driven by 3 AAA batteries. The trailer that I have this on is a $300 Harbor Freight 1,000-pound capacity. Obviously more than the Kayak needs, but we also use it for other utility purposes. And it does have DOT certified tires on it, so it can go highway if we need to. The rack mount is a really cheap, inexpensive mount. I'm going to replace that with Thule square bars at some point, and they're just mounted into the side wood holders on the trailer. Little jury rig stuff there, and wood block support underneath the middle, because with this heavy boat with the batteries and motor and everything on it, it tends to weigh it down. That's why the Thule bars are going to come in handy when I get my hands on those.